everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Bird in the Wings. I'm your host, Kelli Strickland. I say that this is a new episode, but it's actually an episode from the vault. I have referenced this before, but just before COVID in late February, early March 2020, we did record a couple of Bird in the Wings that never made it to publication. This is one of them, and it's a good time to release it now because the conversation is with three young artists who are members of the Youth Arts Initiative at the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay. If you're not familiar with the Youth Arts Initiative at the club, it's a really tremendous program where kids have an opportunity to go deep with some real training, skills development, and of course creative expression through digital media, graphic design, dance. They have a lot going on over there. So this particular conversation was with three young artists. At the time, let's see, Tegan was in fourth grade, so now fifth grade, fourth grader Talson, and seventh grader Josiah. At the time, they had just completed one of their 4 comic books, but in this year of COVID, they have raised the bar for themselves even further, and they created a graphic novel called Drawing from Our Lives, Our Origin Stories. They're accompanied by the professional teaching artist who works with these students. His name is Craig Nitt, and he is an artist who lives in the region. He describes himself as a performer. He is a filmmaker, an artist, and a teacher. He's the founder, actually, of the local film festival, Wildwood. So I get a chance to talk with these three young artists about what they get out of these creative endeavors. And it's a good time to be pushing it out to you all as they have this new graphic novel that is forthcoming, Drawing from Our Lives. So here is my conversation with Tegan, Talson, and Josiah. So why don't we start right here? If you could tell us your name and what grade you are, and well, let's just start with that. Let's just start with your name and what grade you are.
Okay, my name is Tegan and I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Talson and I'm in 3rd grade.
My name is Josiah and I'm in 6th grade.
I'm Mr. Craig. I'm in 2nd grade.
Mr. Craig is not in 2nd grade for our listeners.
Soon I will be.
So this is exciting. I am looking at this issue. It's the 4th issue of is it annual? Annual comic book?
What we've done is we got a grant from the Wallace Foundation for our Youth Arts Initiative. And ultimately, the Wallace Foundation wanted to give us some money. They were generous with their grant that they gave to see if the arts were a good thing for kids in an after-school setting. And guess what we found? We found out that, what do you guys think?
It's awesome.
Yeah, we found out that the arts are really good, but now we also have a couple of phone book thick documents that really register all that data. So we had an independent group coming in doing research on what we were doing. And did you, Josiah, were you ever interviewed for that?
I don't think so.
So you were maybe as it was kind of finishing, but your brother was interviewed, your mom was interviewed,
yes.
Your sister was interviewed.
Yes.
So it was just a really neat way of finding how effective the arts can be. And I'm just so pleased with the results that we have. So we've done 4 comics so far over the 5-year period that we've had it. The first year we made a Monster Crash game that the kids did. Did you make any of those cards?
No.
You would have been really little back
Yeah.
then, so that would have been...
We're working on a new set.
We're working on a new set for that right now, too, which is really
Yes.
exciting. We also have made calendars, but for a calendar, it's really, they look so beautiful, but they only live for a year.
Yeah.
And so if you look at the centerfold of that comic right now, that is from our calendar that we did we took pictures from the new zoo and the Bay Beach Animal Sanctuary. And then the kids did those drawings.
And then these are drawings of the wildlife. They're really beautiful. The colors are really vibrant. They're very detailed.
Absolutely.
The drawings are very detailed. So before we'll put a link in the comments to that Wallace Foundation study, which you can find online, and I will tell you it is compelling, fascinating information. But we have the real life stuff here. We have the actual youth artists, and that's who we're interested in talking to today. So I'm looking at your publication, Animal Tales, and if you don't mind, a couple of you have bios in here, so I'm gonna read these bios if you don't mind. Tegan, you're gonna be my first victim. Tegan is an ambitious young artist who tells new creators to be unique and stand out from the crowd. Never be afraid to be experimental, all while keeping yourself under control. Are those things that you feel like you've discovered or learned while you've been in the Youth Arts Initiative at the Boys and Girls Club?
Yes,
Yeah?
definitely.
So what does be unique mean to you? Or be
Basically,
experimental?
You can do normal things that you would usually do, but oftentimes I try and do different things than I would usually do.
Yeah. That takes some courage, don't you think?
Yeah.
Have you always been that way, or do you feel like you've become more so that way?
I think I've become more that way.
Yeah. So can you think back on something that maybe you felt nervous about trying or trying to do differently, and then you did so and it felt pretty good?
Talk about your drawing that you're working on right now too. That's pretty cool.
So one day I was just doing a drawing exercise, and Craig had a Coca-Cola can in his room. So I drew that and I shaded it, and it was just a still life. So then I came up with this idea, like, what if I could make a whole page of different bottles or cans? So Craig brought in other bottles of different drinks, and
Did I bring them in, or were they in my room already?
Or did he just pick up the garbage?
Yeah,
So
He just tidied up.
I found some, and I drew them, and so now they're on a big page, and I'm shading more than one, and so
You have kind of a collection started.
yeah.
Very cool. And Taliesin, what about you? When did you start drawing?
Well, I was in Craig's room when I was about 7, but I started drawing when I was
that's
about...
pretty young too. That's worth noting.
Yeah.
So I think the youngest kid I had was 6, but Taliesin came in with her sister, and that was awesome.
And I think I started drawing when I was about like 5.
Oh, okay. So you kind of arrived with an interest in drawing. Yeah. And how has it, how have you been able to learn new things or grow as an artist?
Well, when I was younger, I would draw like different things than I draw now. I would draw like sloppy things, but now I can draw like detailed things.
Oh, okay. So you've learned technique, I guess, right? Like you've developed your skill set.
Yeah.
Do either of you, Tegan or Taliesin, do you participate in other art forms besides drawing, or is that really where you kind of focus your attention?
Right now at my house, I'm working on a drawing with watercolor pencils, and I have 2 acrylic paint sets that I use a lot. But
So different forms.
That's a universal symbol for dancing.
oh yeah, dancing too. I do dance. I've been doing dance for 7 years now.
Okay, so you're multifaceted. And what about you, Taliesin? Are you primarily a visual artist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I do a lot of art at home. And I always have like a sketchbook with me if I feel like I need to like draw something down so I can remember it.
Do you find yourself in that situation a lot where you
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get that down?
Yeah.
Like, give me an example of something like that.
Well, like whenever I'm like outside, I always have my sketchbook. So say I found a really cool bird and I want to draw it down, so like I'll remember it.
Oh, so you capture like some important details, but then you might return to it
Yeah.
later. I see. That's smart. I'm going to loop in our third artist here, Josiah. And Josiah also has a bio in our edition of Animal Tales. And his says, Josiah is an always pleasant young artist. That's a lot of pressure. Always pleasant. And likes creating comics and titles. Is that what that says? Titles? He tells new artists to never throw away the work that they do. Why is that?
It's just because if you have like a piece of paper and you drew like a monster or something odd,
Okay.
and then you make something good, but it needs something in it, then
Yeah.
you could put that thing in it.
You never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah. You might just need it all of a sudden.
And so do you keep everything you draw?
Yeah.
You both, do you keep everything at the club or you keep it at home?
Club.
Everything at the club.
Yeah.
You're going to need to clean that up.
Yeah, Craig always saves stuff that he thinks could have potential. Like when we were still doing the jokes, he saw like we went through all the paper piles, and like if we showed him like, oh, what about this paper? If he thought, oh yeah, someone could probably finish that for a joke, let's keep that. So
Yeah.
we had a whole like probably about this thick pile of papers that were going to be used for comics.
Well, and that's so smart, Josiah, because professional artists work that way. You know,
Yeah.
that's why you'll go to a museum, and for our most famous artists, you'll actually see like the little sketches, you know, where they just started having an idea, and then you'll see different iterations of it. So how about you? I have to add, Josiah's favorite animal is a Yeti or a wolf.
Or wolf. Because
I love the
Yetis are technically real, so
Yetis are what real?
not really real.
Oh, not really real?
Yeah, so
So you've got one imaginative
Yeah,
favorite animal
yeah.
and one real animal. Okay, I gotcha. And what about you? Do you limit yourself to the visual arts or do you participate in other kinds of arts as well?
probably visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you could tell someone about how being an artist has changed you or made you a different person, what would you tell them? How has it impacted your life?
It makes me calm. Like, it doesn't make me like, oh, when I was little, I used to be like really energetic, like really, really energetic. Now I'm like calm, not like running around the room. Well, Craig has little people in, little kids in,
Leprechauns.
little leprechauns in his room, and they're really energetic, but most of the time I'm calm, so are they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really focused thing.
Yeah, because usually, like, there's a couple people sitting at a table, and then there's, like, this huge group of people who are just, like, most the loudness of the
Yeah.
room. And then we're just sitting there drawing, like, quietly talking, and then just, like, they're just over there being super loud.
I have to tell you that as you guys are talking about it and describing that kind of calm and focus, it's actually calming me down. I've had a really hectic day, and as I'm listening to you talk about it, I'm like, oh, that act of just like paying really attention to small details. That's really lovely. What about you, Taliesin? What do you feel like? How has art kind of changed you as a person?
Well, like I was also like really bored when I was younger, so I feel like art has taken up most of my life. So I'm not bored anymore.
Yeah, it's never ending, right? I mean, there's no end.
This young lady was also part of an award-winning film that you were your third place last year
Yeah.
at Scottywood, which is the Green Bay's film festival for kids.
Yeah.
So what tell them a little bit about that.
Tell me about the
Well,
film.
me and my sister made a movie called Our Dumber Movie where like we came up with like really good ideas, but the other person called them dumb.
Uh-huh.
And every time we told a different like movie idea, they would say, "That's even dumber."
I gotcha. And then would you sort of reenact these dumb ideas? Okay, I get it. I can see. Was it funny?
Yeah.
It sounds like it could be very funny. What I'm sensing about all three of you is that you kind of have a you give off the sense that that you have. Well, maybe I said it earlier, like this bravery about trying things and expressing things, and that I find is not always the case with people your age. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel do you think that your experience as part of the Youth Arts Initiative has made you different at all from your classmates?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like,
How might you guess so?
I don't know.
Sometimes there's like already kids in our class who kind of do the same things, but like independently, like at their house and stuff. So then they can kind of relate on things to us. And then like a lot of times in my class, like we tell them, like there's a lot of kids in my class who have that, like they do stuff like this at home, and I'm always giving them like tips that other people have told me. So I'm like, oh, you should try this, stuff like that.
So in some ways, it kind of gives you a deeper skill level just because you're getting a lot of input and help from people. But also it strikes me, as, the visual arts can be a little bit lonely, right? They can be a little bit isolated. But it's kind of cool that you guys you're all visual artists, but like you have a community that you are making these kind of, even though as I'm looking through the comic book, each of these strips is an individual effort, but you're kind of making it in a community of people. That's very, very cool.
We like to help people. Like, we like to make people happy. Like,
Yeah, recently we did the memory project, and we got pictures from kids from Nigeria, I think.
Yeah, I think
And we
thank you for bringing
did a
that up.
self-portrait of them, and they did, I wasn't there, but they did another one, and there was a video, and you could just see, like, how happy the kids were, and they're just, like, they got to see pictures of themselves, and they're all orphans or refugees.
So photographs were sent to you, and then you guys did actual drawings, portraits of them, and sent them back. That's really beautiful.
it just, like, touches the heart, kind of.
Yeah.
The video that they sent us, it is a bit of a tearjerker.
Yeah.
I know a couple of the kids that watched it,
The
they're like,
first time-
Mr. Craig, there's something in my eye.
The first time I watched it, I almost cried, because
It's sweet. It's very sweet.
because it doesn't happen a lot in the world.
Like, they're going through war, and it's like, they're going through, like, really bad stuff, so it's like, we make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah. This might be like deep or whatever, but there is something about someone taking the time to draw a portrait of you that can make you feel really seen. Do you know what I mean? Like that comfort of someone really looking at you and seeing you and appreciating you.
Yeah, because like when you do a portrait, you have to pay attention to the smallest
The
details.
smallest details, right.
So you can make it most accurate.
Yeah. Do any of you experiment with abstract art? Or do you feel like
I've tried before, but
It's hard.
yeah.
It is
What do you
hard.
think is hard about it?
It's just, like, really detailed.
It's really what?
Detailed.
It's detailed, but not detailed at the same time.
I don't really know. It's like you have to get thin lines, but they're hard.
Yeah. Are they hard because there's no predetermined way that they're supposed to be drawn?
Yeah.
The background that you created for the graphic novel was, I would say, very abstract. So was that hard, or was that?
It was time consuming,
Well, yeah, sometimes.
but it was like easier, but like harder at the same time.
So easier. I'm gonna make guesses, and you tell me if I'm correct. Easier because in some ways there's no right or wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But harder because there's no outside clues as to where exactly you're supposed to be going. It all has to come from inside, right?
Imagination.
Your own imagination.
In art class, we did an abstract art piece. It was a painting, And so the piece of paper was actually just a circle. And we had to make our own little community as like houses. I forgot which artist we were basing it off of, but and she always did like little pictures of houses, and they were always like, a lot of times the windows connected into a face, so there was squares, and then like if there was a sun or a moon, that had a little face, and then like the houses were always tilted, and then there were trees, and we actually made our own, based them off of her.
Oh, that sounds really beautiful. So this was someone shared this artist's work with you, or you were working with the artist herself?
Our art teacher pulled up a lot of pictures of her art.
Gotcha.
So we had, for 2 weeks, we do art once a week. So for 2 weeks we were studying how she did her art and what was different from other artists, so we could know what to try and do on our art piece.
So here's a question. You raised kind of an interesting point, Tegan, that at school you might have art once a week, right?
Yeah. That's not the case for me. I doodle on all of my papers.
Right.
I have little drawings all over the place. If you were to ask my teacher, he would say, "Yep, there's doodles on every one of your papers."
Every one of your papers. But let's just say that you didn't have access to the club and the Youth Arts Initiative and Mr. Craig and all of these resources that you have. Can you imagine how would you feel about art if you had it once a week? Like, what might be different?
I would probably go home and do art then.
You think so?
Yeah. I feel like I do a lot of art at home already, so I feel like it would increase how much art I do at home, because I already hate that we don't have art more than one day at school, because we have every other special more than one day during the week. So it's kind of like, I know I can't change it, I know I can't do anything about it, but I just wish we had more. Because it's like, it's such a change of pace from any other special or class.
Yeah, it really changes how your brain works.
It's a good break.
Yeah.
I look forward to art, and I have art on Mondays, so that's good. I'm like the only one who actually likes Mondays.
Because you got art that day.
Yeah.
So how many years, can you figure out how many years you've been working with Mr. Craig and on these visual arts projects?
Well,
I've been with him for like a year and a half now.
3.5.
And
3.5?
Yeah.
Gotten
Craig
some
like,
things
yeah,
done.
about a year and a half maybe.
Year and a half. I have to tell you, you represent really well why the arts are important. You're all very well spoken, and you also demonstrate a kindness and an empathy for other people in a way that I think is the arts are one of the most important ways to learn that skill, and you all demonstrate it really beautifully. I'm impressed by the three of you.
We don't judge people. Like, if it's your art is like kind of bad, we don't judge you. We just make you better.
Yeah.
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 I feel like art like kind of helps you with other skills, like not even just like art things, a lot of other things, like in class, in math, say, you could help draw pictures to help you, I guess. You could.
In spatial relationships, yeah, I think is what that's called. The official term is like
Or
understanding shapes in space.
If Craig ever has like a guest, like one time my dad came in and talked to him because my dad has a friend who was an artist, and he stopped because he didn't know like a lot about business and stuff. So Craig told my dad, "Oh yeah, you gotta tell him like you need to take business classes for art."
That's been a new thing that I've really been pushing, because I see the significance of being able to promote yourself as an artist. So I try to talk to these kids about that right away, and let them realize that what they can do is start being little entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
things like that.
I would say that all of the arts that has changed, even when I was very first starting out as an actress, everyone was attempting to get an agent. Like that was sort of your connection to the world. But now actors, they can essentially manage and sell themselves, through social media and through websites and all of that kind of thing. So I think the internet and social media has completely changed the game for artists. There's a way to talk directly to the people who might be interested in the work that you do.
Yeah, the artist that I was talking about for the art project that we did, she actually sells her art on eBay.
Yeah.
So she doesn't sell it like personally. She ships it on eBay. And when I was in 3rd grade, we did a business thing. We were learning about the economy, and we had to sell something. We had fake money, and we had to earn it through doing good things. And at the end of the year, we had a business sale, and I sold paintings, and I had probably maybe like 4x4 inches little canvases, and I painted little pictures, and I sold them, and I ended up getting over $100 worth with that fake money.
Now you can pay me back the $100 you owe me.
It's not real.
So, Craig, I want to turn to you for just a second and give a little more context. You kind of jumped into it right at the beginning, but these particular young artists are products of the Youth Arts Initiative, which now I understand they're rolling out nationally. But Green Bay was one of the very first pilot programs for this.
We were part of Wave 1, and Green Bay, Milwaukee, and St. Cloud, Minnesota were chosen because they wanted to see if they could make it work in the Midwest. They're figuring that anywhere on either coast would be able to do it without a problem. So now they're actually into Wave 2 of the Youth Arts Initiative, which is slightly less wonderfully funded, unfortunately, but it's a little bit more realistic too, because we were just supposed to see if it was a good thing or not, and we definitely proved that. And now Wave 2 wants to see how things can be kept going. So now we're working on sustainability, and we're working on that in Green Bay as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so that's something that folks should know, is that this program needs to be supported.
Absolutely. And I think anyone who sees the products that we can create, with the Youth Arts Initiative here in Green Bay, we've had 4 different artists at one point, where there was a filmmaker, which Alex Zacharias, and he is phenomenal. We had different musical teachers that have come in. We've had a dance instructor, and then myself as a visual art instructor. So we were all practicing professional artists in our own respect. And we've really proven that this is a successful formula. So we're actually looking too for artists who are out in the community who want to share their skills with some of our youth, because myself and Alex have the power to hire some artists to come in and teach a day-long workshop or a 6-week program if they're interested. So we'd like to get that word out as well.
Excellent, yeah. And I think that there's a lot of energy right now in Green Bay connecting the arts and culture community. And I think that the youngest artists of our community, that being Josiah Taliesin and Tegan as examples of that young arts community, it's important that they are folded into that community as well, because your voices are important. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners in parting about Animal Tales? First of all, where can people get Animal Tales?
We will probably have a signing at a couple of different places throughout the course of the next year. We love Powers Comics. We will have a signing there for sure, where the kids will get a chance to get together. Have any of you guys been at signings before?
No. I went to
Josiah,
the East Side Boys and Girls Club, and we did a
Okay, so you guys
signing.
got a chance to do a signing over there.
I didn't.
I went to, well, first of all, Boys and Girls Club, obviously. Where else was it? I think I went to.
Did you go to the Barnes & Noble?
I think I did, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have a signing there soon, too.
I'm
And
looking
actually,
forward to that.
we're working on potentially having our comic for sale there. So that would be really cool. And I think Powers Comics will have a couple copies there, too, so it'll be something that we can have available. I'm working on getting a chance to go into their schools and give their comics out to their classmates.
Oh, wow.
I think that's going to be a really great way to celebrate what they've accomplished.
Absolutely.
Yes.
How are you guys going to feel when your peers get your comic and you're
Well,
standing in front?
It's
Just
gonna be so
glowing.
weird.
Already, every kid in my class is like, "When is Craig coming? When is Craig coming?" Because I told them like, maybe in a couple weeks, maybe in a couple days, Craig might be coming, and he's gonna show you guys about the comic and come in. And there's 2 kids in my class who are like, they can't wait. They can't
Excellent.
wait. Like, they're so excited.
That's the greatest part. After you put, the piece itself is so professional. It's just really,
Tegan actually helped with that cover, too.
Yeah, I made the design for the cover.
it's printed beautifully. The quality of the paper is beautiful. The color saturation is beautiful. It's just really high quality, and that's so nice to have the feeling as an artist that you didn't just sort of draw the thing and it got put on the refrigerator, right? You really poured some energy into this, and it shows. And then you get this very high quality piece. So I hope as many people as possible get to see it.
That's exactly what I said. It doesn't just go on the refrigerator. It's a more advanced piece of art that not many kids get to do. Craig always says that. What was the number of how many kids got to make a comic book?
I think 70 kids helped make Animal Tales, and if we look at the calendar pictures, then maybe we could add another 20 to that. But just giving them that opportunity at that age to be a published author, now all of a sudden it's like, what can I do next?
Yeah,
and so I just love to
that
really
feeling of accomplishment. Very cool. Well, I want to thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And we'll put links on the description of the podcast so people can find you. And they're going to be at Barnes & Noble. They're going to be at Power Comics. Keep your eyes open. This is the future of graphic arts here in Green Bay. Josiah, Taliesin, and Tegan. You heard it here first.
And Mr. Craig.
And Mr. Craig. Yes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So there you have it. That's my conversation with our young artists, Tegan, Taliesin, and Josiah, and of course, Mr. Craig. And keep an eye out for their forthcoming graphic novel, Drawing from Our Lives. And I understand that there's an accompanying video project with that as well. If you don't follow the Boys and Girls Club on social media, you should. It's just amazing to keep up with everything they have going on over there. And especially, from my perspective, the very exciting work that's coming out of the Youth Arts Initiative. Bird in the Wings is a production of Phoenix Studios at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. Phoenix Studios' executive producer is Ryan Martin, and the production manager is Kate Farley. Our audio production coordinator is Bill Salick. Today's editor is Yanzer Lim. Thank you, Yanzer. Our graphic designer is Kimberly Vlias. Our music was created by Noah Simon. Special thanks to the young artists from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay and their teaching artist, Mr. Craig. If you haven't already, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. You can also head over to our website at uwgb.edu/podcasts, plural, to check out past episodes of this and all of our shows. I'm your host, Kelli Strickland. Thanks for listening.